Hello dear student, myself KM Jha, lecturer VPMP Polytechnic Gandhinagar. I am here again with my new module from the Java programming. The unit name is Inheritance Package and Interfaces, and the topic that I am going to talk here is Basics of Inheritance. Now we will see the objective. After learning this module, students will be able to understand types of inheritance and concept of method overriding. When we are talking about inheritance types, we are going to see single inheritance, multi-level, hierarchical as well as hybrid inheritance. So first of all, we will talk about inheritance. As I said, inheritance, it is nothing, it is all about the legacy that transfer from one generation to another. Similarly, here also, as the name implies, inheritance can be defined as the process where one class acquires the properties of another. With the use of inheritance, the information is made manageable in a hierarchical order. So, through the parent class, all the properties are transferred to the child class. So, when I am talking about properties, I am talking about all the members which is present inside the class, that is superclass. When members I am saying, it means I am talking about data members as well as member functions. Okay. So how we are transferring that through inheritance? By using the keyword extends. So extends is the keyword. It is used to inherit the properties of a class from the parent class to the child class. The class which inherits the properties of other is known as subclass or derived class. In general, we call it as a child class. And the class whose properties are inherited is known as superclass. In general, we call it as a parent class. So, what we discuss, it is all about the inheritance. Deriving a new class from an old class is called inheritance. So, purpose of inheritance, it implements the reusability of code. It implements the flexibility of code to promote code reusing, like supporting to implement polymorphism. It means to use multiple times the same code to improve the flexibility. Wherever you are interested according to the requirement of program, the same code can be written or imported by using the inheritance. So this is the types of inheritance. The first one is single inheritance. This is superclass and this is child class. Here only one superclass exists. In case of multi-level, as the name is multi-level, here we are talking about multiple levels of superclass. And this is the diagram for that. This is the hierarchical structure for that. This is class A, this is class B and class C. So class B, it is child class for class A. And for class C, child class, class B is a intermediate superclass. So derived from a derived class. We are deriving a child class C from a derived child class B. So in other words, it becomes a intermediate superclass. You can derive the other classes accordingly. In case of hierarchical inheritance, here you are having one superclass and many subclass. Here we will see the syntax for that. Class, here the name is subclass name, extends superclass name. This is all declaration of the class, that is variable declaration and method declaration. We will see, we are talking about the example of hierarchical inheritance here, class A, class B and class C. So in case of hierarchical inheritance, only one superclass A and child classes are more than one. In Java, does not support multiple inheritance. This concept is implemented using secondary inheritance path in the form of interfaces that we will discuss later. Okay, so class B and class C are extending from a class A, and that's why it comes into the category of hierarchical. B and C, these are child classes which is derived from the superclass A. Somehow here the arrow mark is missed. This is syntax. Here the child class subclass name which is extended from the superclass name. Now we will see the example. Here the parent class is parent and this is your child class. So you can declare the visibility mode as public and it extends the parent. This is your superclass. So here we are extending, we are using the inheritance feature through the extends keyword. This is your superclass and this is your child class. Here you have created a function P1, and similarly we have created a other function in the child class, that is C1. This one P1 and this one is C1. Here P1 function we have created in the superclass, and in the child class we created C1. And how we are creating the object? We created object of a child class, here this one, by using new unary operator. And once the object is created, it by default compiler calls default constructor. Okay, so the values of the object is initialized. Here this object first calls the P1 and then it will call a C1. How it is possible for the child object to call the function P1, as it is present inside the parent class? So it is possible because we are extending the child class from the parent class. So child class is having all the right to extend the features from the parent class. Although P1 it is a function which is part of a parent class, but it becomes its right for the child class to access all the members if it is declared public inside the child class. And then after it can access its own class also, own function also. C1 is a function which is present in child class. Okay. So this is how first of all the parent class has been called and then child class called. How parent class called? Because in the function P1 there is written parent class, and in the function C1 there is written child class. So extend keyword, as I said, by using this keyword only compiler can understand you are going to use the concept of inheritance, and all the properties from the superclass is allowed to enter into the child class. This is the syntax for the single inheritance. Here the subclass name extends superclass name. Here we will see one example. Here the name of the superclass is vehicle, and the child class which is created is car from the superclass vehicle. Here you can see, and this is body of the code. Subclasses and superclass, I hope it is clear to everyone. The upper one is superclass and the created one is a child class. In other words, it is also called derived class or subclass. Okay. Super keyword. Whenever we are talking about the super keyword is used to refer to immediate parent class of a class. So super, it is a keyword which is always used in a child class. You can see here this keyword super, it is used inside a child class. We cannot use super keyword in a parent class, as we are referring all the content from the parent class, that is super class, into the child class. Okay, so try to remember one thing: whenever we are using super keyword, we are trying to access the things from the super class, that is parent class. So here we have created a class parent. One variable is there, only name, and we have extended the child class from the parent. You can see here. Okay, so how we are fetching this particular variable? By using this super keyword. Although it is a part of parent class, but by using super keyword you are going to access, or it is the right of a child class to access the variable as well as method into the child class. So super dot name is already present inside the parent class, and this is the value that you are assigning to the super dot name. This is string value. Okay, as it belongs to data type string. And then there is another variable, that is name, and the value is child. Here you can see case sensitivity, you will have to remember here it is in small letters, so you will have to use small n only. Okay, and it should be always a first statement in a child class method. Super keyword. Super can be used for two purposes: to access the hidden data variables of the super class, as well as use of super to call super class constructor or method. Okay. Single inheritance, we have already seen the example. This is the another example. This is animal, which is super class. Dog, it is a child class extended from the animal, and then you can use it. The same example that you might be remembering this one. Just a moment, I'll show you the example. This is the example of single inheritance that we have already discussed. So the same example is repeated here, single inheritance. Only the format has been changed from single inheritance. Other example has been taken. So multi-level inheritance, it is also the same way you can go with, only the type of superclasses change. So the next derived class becomes the superclass for the next child class. So here the class is animal, and inside the class animal there is a function eat. We created a new child class dog, which is extended from the parent class. Similarly, we created another class, this one, which extends the first derived class. Okay, so this is multi-level. For this class, dog class, this one is the first superclass, and when we created another child class, this particular dog class will become a super class, and that's why it will become a multi-level. Okay, and this is the example for that. In case of hierarchical, we have used here the first name is, class name is animal. Okay, and then this is a function inside that, dog and cat, these are like B and C, this is your A. So these are two child classes which is arised from the same super class. The super class is animal here. Okay, so this is first child class, this is second child class, which is generated from the super class animal. Okay, and we have used here the keyword extends. Okay, so this is example of hierarchical. The same way, first superclass is A, and here the superclass is animal. Then from the animal, the two child classes has been derived. First one is dog and another one is cat. Okay, you can, I hope you can understand this very well. Okay, so why there is a need of multiple inheritance? You can see, as I said, ki multiple inheritance directly is not allowed in Java. Why we are not using that? So there is another approach of interface. So you can see a scenario where A, B and C are three classes. The C class inherits A and B class. If A and B classes have same method and you call it from child class object, there will be ambiguity to call method of A or B class, and in such cases compiler will generate a runtime error. Since compile time errors are better than runtime errors, I mean to say compile time errors are going to be generated. So since compile time errors are better than runtime errors, Java renders compile time errors if you inherit two classes at the same time. So to reduce that complexity, there is another version, that is interface. Okay, to reduce this ambiguity, when child class calls the same method from the two classes, in that case compiler is getting confused and it will generate a compiler error. To reduce that ambiguity, there is a concept of interface. This is the example for the same thing that I have discussed. Okay, here the compile time and error has been generated. Okay, A and B both are having same message, you can see here. Okay, so when the child class object will call the message, so compiler is going to generate a compile time error, because system is getting confused to which method it will have to call, because in both the classes the method name is same. Okay, and that's why to remove this ambiguity, there is another concept of interface. Hybrid inheritance is also there, same way. Overridden method, when we are talking about overridden method, it means we are trying to override one method by another, by the behavior in the child class. So overridden method allow Java to support runtime polymorphism. Overridden methods are another way that Java implements the one interface multiple method aspects of polymorphism. This is the example. So same method is overridden. Here it is in the parent class, okay, override method, and in the child class you can see the behavior has been completely changed. There we are having single statement. Here you can understand at a glance there are two statements. So method is overridden here. Thank you so much for watching this video. Keep visiting the video for the next time. Thank you.